Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Sorry for the few-minute delay there. My name is Matthew Radford. I'm the Associate Director of International Recruitment here at Lambton College, joined by my colleague, Hannah Aralou, who is the Dean of our Center for Global Engagement. As I'm sure you are aware, registration for the winter 2025 intake opened yesterday, November 11th. Speaking with my team just a few moments ago, I know many of you have already started that process, so thank you very much. At this stage, you should have already received several emails from us in the lead up to today's question and answer session. If you haven't been receiving emails from us, be sure to contact us. That means that we don't have your correct information on file. We want to make sure that you get all of the important information about registration, pre-orientation, orientation, arriving to Canada, and so forth. So what we always like to do each intake after we have opened registration is to set some time aside for you to basically, just like the title of this video says, ask us anything. So if you have questions about the registration process, about Canada, about traveling, about what to expect in the community, at the college, about your academics, that's why Hannah and I are here today. We'll do our very best to answer as many questions as we can. As a reminder, today's session is for our Sarnia campus students. If you are an Ottawa campus student, not to worry, your session is right here, same time, but tomorrow, Wednesday, November the 13th. Before we dive in, I will say if you do have questions, and I see some of you have already typed questions into the chat, that is the way to ask the questions to us. So feel free at any time, if you have any question, type it into the chat. Eric Walker is behind the scenes. He will post the questions on the screen for either Hannah or myself to answer. But before we get started, as we do in advance of any important occasions here at Lambton College, we like to kick things off with a land acknowledgement. So for that, I'll pass it to you, Hannah.
That's great. Thanks so much, Matt, for the great introduction. I would like to acknowledge that Lambton College in Sarnia is located on the beautiful homeland that is a traditional territory of the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, and Odawa First Nations. These three individual nations make up the traditional Three Fires Confederacy. We acknowledge the grace and the welcome they have offered to all students and staff at Lambton College. Okay, let's get started. I think we've got lots of great questions. I'm excited to start meeting our students virtually and then probably in about 6 weeks in person. So let's get started. Hi, I'm a student. Hi, good morning. Is any accommodation facility provided by the college for students who are new? Great question. Absolutely. We have a housing coordinator. His name is Rob Tour, and actually he has a upcoming housing webinar. It will be live on November 27th at 9 a.m. Similar location, just a different date coming up in a couple of weeks. We do have lots of opportunities for students to live either on campus or off campus, and we're supported by our housing coordinator, and that is done through the Student Administrative Council. So I encourage you to go to our housing webpage, and you'll find lots of opportunities, and you'll be also invited to join our housing Telegram group. So please make sure that you're watching and you're monitoring your personal emails, because we will send you a Telegram invite for you to join, and there you'll be able to find that upcoming available housing opportunities and rentals for the intake as well. We just want you to be also considerate of scams that are out there. I know that's not the great way to start with scams, but I just want our international students to be aware that, sight unseen, paying people in Bitcoin or in cash is not the way to go. But join our housing webinar coming up, and you'll be able to understand what the tricks of the trade are, what to look for in housing and rental. So great question. Yes, absolutely. You will find housing once you start the process coming to Sarnia.
Yeah. And I did in the chat add, so Sarnia's housing coordinator, as Hannah mentioned, his name is Rob Tour. So I added his name and his email address in the chat. It's housing@lambtoncollege.ca. So even before that webinar, feel free, send him an email, reach out, and the team is here and ready to support you. Next question. Priyanshi asks, police clearance copy is required at any step or in any process of the college. So as a college process, no. But I would recommend while you're home, once you leave home, it makes it much harder to get your police clearance. So while you're at home, it's probably a useful thing to acquire and carry with you. From an employer perspective, now I don't know what program that you are in, but there would be certain industries within Canada where working in that industry as a part of the hiring process may require a police clearance. So to have that before you leave home, just have that with you just in case, whether you might need it or you might not. It's one of those things where if you have it, it doesn't hurt.
I just want to add to that, Matt, if the student is in PSW, they will need to have a passport to placement. More details of that will come up at the program orientation on January 3rd. And we will also be emailing students in programs like PSW that do have a field placement, the requirements related to that. So please, again, continue to monitor your personal emails as those will be sent to you within the next 6 weeks.
All right, next question. As international students, we have health insurance through the college, correct? Yes, that is correct. Will we receive any specific documentation regarding this? So the answer to both of those questions is yes. So GuardMe is our third-party health insurance provider. All international students who are joining Lambton College have coverage. So as a winter 2025 intake student, your coverage would officially begin on January 1st, 2025. But we do have coverage in place such that if you are arriving to Canada up to 30 days prior to January 1st, prior to the start of this term, you are covered under that health insurance as well. Now, in terms of specific documentation, that you will receive after registration, once the registration process is complete. It's all e-cards now, right, Hannah?
That's correct.
Students, yeah. So you'll just receive an email to your Lambton College student email account, and you'll be able to then download a digital copy of your GuardMe health insurance card. And that would take place after registration.
And remember, we do have a GuardMe webinar coming up on November 19th, again at 9 a.m. Same place, same location, online. So we've got Lucia, our GuardMe provider, will be with me live to answer any of your questions. And again, we will be sending out more communication detailing the arrival process and how your GuardMe health insurance works. So again, keep your eyes peeled for your inbox in your personal email. And that personal email that we're using is the one found at the top right of your offer letter. So if that is not your email, please contact international@lambtoncollege.ca to get that corrected, because we are, no offense, we're going to be bombarding you with lots of information to get you guys ready to go when you get here in Canada.
Right. Next question. Please, I want to know what the enrollment letter is. Is it the LOA or the PAL? This is a really good question. So basically, I'll explain all of these documents here for you briefly. So the LOA, the letter of acceptance, is the document that you would have received from Lambton College indicating that you received admission to our college. Then later on in the process, you would have likely received a PAL, which is a provincial attestation letter. That is an indication that you have a seat within Lambton College's allocation for international enrollment for this academic year. And then finally, enrollment letter is a different document. The enrollment letter is what indicates that you have actually enrolled in your program. So the LOA shows that you received admission to the program, but the enrollment letter shows that you've actually completed the registration process. You've actually enrolled in the program. And that is something on our checklist of what to bring with you at the airport. Have your enrollment letter with you. It indicates that you've completed the registration process and you're enrolled and ready to begin your studies at Lambton College.
Okay, Krista was asking, can you tell us about the train services from Toronto to Sarnia? Absolutely. If you go to the Sarnia webpage for international students, you'll find one of the links. It's called Transit, and you'll be able to find all the available services for transportation regarding Toronto Airport to Sarnia. So there is a train that leaves Union Station. It leaves daily. I think it's at 5:20 p.m. every day, and it takes about 4.5 hours to get into Sarnia. But you would, if you're arriving at Pearson Airport, then you would have to take something called the Up train 20 minutes, doesn't take that long, but all those details are on the transit page. There's also FlixBus, there's other buses. You can also hire a driver if you like. So look at our transit page for all those services that are available from Toronto to Sarnia. Okay, hi, I recently received my PPR from my RCC and my visa stamping is in process. Congratulations. Great news, Rohan. However, I registered for my course online today before my passport was stamped. Will this cause any issue? Absolutely not. We encourage anyone who has their port of entry letter or their PPR. It's the PPR is basically a document from IRCC that will fall into your GCKey account that says that a decision has been made and you've been asked to send your passport for processing. If you have your PPR, that's what you need to register. And then in the midst of that, while you wait for your passport to return with your TRV stamp in it and the POE or the port of entry dropping into your GCKey account, then you'll let us know and we'll ask for those documents afterwards. But yes, anybody that has a PPR, please proceed and register as soon as possible. This will just help us with the processes and getting you all set up for your studies at Lambton College. If you come after registration, will it pose a problem? Shalana, I'm not sure what the question is here. We do ask students arrive between 4 to 6 weeks before the start of the term. So the start of the term is January 2nd. That's the first day of orientation. So if you begin arriving, let's say around December 2nd, 3rd, the beginning of December, that's perfectly fine. But remember, when you're at the border, CBSA officer, which is Canadian Border Services agent, will ask you questions about, the purpose of your visit, and you will have to demonstrate why you are coming to Canada, regardless if you come 4 weeks, 6 weeks, or 2 weeks before the start of the term. We do encourage everybody to arrive before orientation starts. So January 2nd is the first day of orientation. So start making your way, start booking your flights for the beginning of December. Classes are in person and you are expected to be attending orientation in person and starting classes in person on January 6th. If you have any clarifying questions, Shalana, please go ahead and ask in the chat.
Ashish asks, is there any part-time work placement for students? Good question. There isn't part-time work placement. We don't place any students into part-time jobs, but there is certainly part-time work support. We have job fairs on campus. We just had a massive job fair just a few weeks ago. Our co-op and career services department will help students with a number of aspects related to their job search. It's interesting. We just stay tuned here on our YouTube channel. Eric Walker, who's behind the scenes here, he recorded a video with one of our students talking about a number of different topics. And one of them was his part-time job search. And I always think it's interesting. Some students say, oh, I've been looking for weeks and I can't find any jobs. And then this student came in and in his video, he explained to us how he got 2 job offers in the same day. It took him literally 1 day to get multiple job offers. So how come one student is incredibly successful finding part-time work, clearly, while some other students struggle? And in most cases, it's the job search strategy. It's what he did. Or what others maybe are not doing, or what they're missing, or what they're doing, but it's not correct. So those are the types of things. Utilize the services that we have available to you here at Lambton College. Our co-op and career services department is excellent. And truly, there is a trick to finding part-time work, not just for international students, that's for Canadians as well. There is a method to it and a process. And if you take those resources and seriously utilize them, it makes the part-time work search much easier. We're the #1 college for applied research opportunities for our students as well. So in terms of on-campus employment related to a research project, perhaps in your program or within your school, hundreds of our students last year were hired in research roles in relation to research projects being conducted here at Lambton College. So lots of opportunities. Just make sure that you use the resources and understand how to capture those opportunities.
Yeah, and I like to add too, Matt, like adjacent to that is also volunteerism. I really encourage our students to, once they arrive on campus, there are lots of great opportunities on and off campus to integrate into the community, to network and develop soft skills in that sense. In volunteerism, you don't get paid, obviously, but it is your sweat equity. It is your time that you are giving to an organization or to an event, and it's a great way to meet people and meet Canadians and industry as well. So we also have lots of activities that have a CCR attached to it. CCR is called a co-curricular record. If you're doing your registration, you're going to see, in the pre-revel courses, I think it's pre-revel course maybe 3, where it talks about the CCR. Co-curricular record is basically a transcript of your volunteerism that has been vetted by the college, and you put that into your resume and you add that to as a portfolio piece when you're applying for a position. And it demonstrates that you are committed to an organization or an event, that you're reliable, and that you're developing soft skills. So again, we want our students to get part-time jobs. Like Matt mentioned, there is a method to the madness, but also bolster that with your placements with doing some volunteerism on and off campus. So after you do the registration, you get enrollment letter. Thanks, Shalana, for your question. So I just want to walk through the process right now. So on Monday, all of you received an email to your personal email, the personal email that is found at the top right of your offer letter. And we attached a checklist. So a checklist of telling you the steps for your onboarding process. So once you do register, so let's say you registered today, you uploaded your pre-arrival course, the one that I just mentioned right now. You uploaded your immigration document, your PPR, and then you uploaded your passport. So what will happen within 24 to 48 hours, international staff will go through your registration documents, and if everything is good, they will approve it, and then you'll start getting registered within the internal processes here. Within 24 hours, you will receive 2 emails from the college. That is your My Lambton credentials, your personal username, and your password. We encourage you to change your password as soon as possible. Make it personal, make it challenging so that you don't get hacked or you don't get any issues with cybersecurity. And then you have access to My Lambton. When you go into My Lambton, you will be able to download your enrollment letter. We encourage everybody to download their enrollment letter, actually print it out, have it with you with your offer letter and with all of your documents, especially your port of entry letter that IRCC provides you. Because when you go through customs, the CBSA officer may not ask for your port of entry letter. They might forget to ask. And if they don't ask and you don't voluntarily give it to them, you may not even get a study permit. So we've seen this happen in the past. One of our students neglected to provide the port of entry letter. Again, this port of entry letter is also called the letter of introduction. You will find it in your GC Key account from IRCC. You need to give that to the border official in order to get your study permit given to you. What happens if you don't get a study permit? You can't study. You can't get a social insurance number. You can't get your GIC or access to a Canadian bank account. So this is critical. So Shalana, thank you for asking this. What to expect at the border, you'll be getting a video about that. I think, Matt, that's coming up in the next couple of weeks of all the documents that you need. Please go to the Before You Arrive page for Sarnia and look at all the documents that you need and how to prepare yourselves for arriving into Canada, especially at the border. Do not leave the airport without a study permit. And when you do get your study permit, ensure that your name, your gender, your date of birth, check the expiry date, and ensure that the condition to work on and off campus is on your study permit. If you're in a co-op program, you will receive a co-op work permit. Sometimes the border officials don't have that for you. Don't worry about it. It's easy to get a co-op work permit. It's free of charge. There is no charge by IRCC. And we will explain all of this at our immigration session happening in January at orientation.
Great. Angel asks, as a student, will we be able to get free transportation service nearby Sarnia until completion of our program? Not free transportation service, I guess, unless you're walking. That's always free transportation. Some schools, what they do is they provide public transit pass as part of your student fees. But even in those cases, it's not free. You're paying for them. The school is just forcing every student to pay whether they want the transportation pass or not. At Lambton College, we prefer to give students the choice. I know we have some students who live so close to campus and their job, and they just walk everywhere and they don't need it, in which case then we don't want to force students to buy something that they don't need. But students do receive a student discount if they purchase the city transportation pass. $40 a month, Hannah, is that approximately the cost of the city bus pass?
Yeah, it goes by semester, Matt, and it's quite affordable. If you compare what the TTC is in Toronto, what students are charged here in Sarnia is 1 month of the TTC in Toronto. So it's approximately $190 for the semester.
Yeah, and in Toronto, it's almost that for 1 month.
1 month
service.
Yeah, so it's very affordable, and great lines in the system, and it's great buses as well.
Yeah, excellent question. Right. Rohan asks, if I arrive in Sarnia between December 12th and 20th, will I be able to get a room starting from the middle of the month? Also, will I need to pay the full month's rent? So very good question. I think a lot of people will be arriving at different times. That is probably a better question for Rob Tour, our housing support coordinator. And the answer will really depend on the landlord. You know, some landlords might have very specific, maybe they have a tenant moving out at the end of the month. So then they want somebody to join at the beginning of the next month. Other landlords might be more flexible. Maybe they already have the vacancy and they just want someone to move in right away. So it would be available ASAP. All depends on the landlord. So what I would do is once you have your arrival date confirmed, make sure that Rob, the housing coordinator, knows your arrival date. And then when he's helping you find accommodation, he'll be able to look for landlords that would have that flexibility if you wanted to get started in the middle of a month rather than at the beginning of a month. So reach out to Rob, housing@lambtoncollege.ca.
Yeah, and to add to that, Matt, there's also temporary accommodation. So there are a lot of affordable hotels in the area that, again, is on our housing webpage, and there are discounts for our students. So please check that out as well. If it's just a temporary stay for 10 days, 2 weeks, 4 days, it depends on when you're arriving to make that arrangement. So make sure, and just to remind students, you are coming at Christmas time. If you're coming normally within Canada, Sarnia included, between, I would say, December 23 to January 1st. Things are open, but on Christmas Day and Boxing Day and New Year's Day, everything is shut down. So just be mindful of that, of when you're arriving. I think flights tend to be cheaper when you arrive on those dates, but I just want you to be aware of services that are available throughout Canada as you travel on those special holiday dates.
All right, next question. Do we get assistance in finding co-op? Absolutely, yes. I always describe co-op to students as a partnership. So one partner is Lambton College, of course. I mentioned earlier our co-op and career services department, the services they provide for part-time job search. They provide services for co-op job search as well. So very early on in your program, you'll already start receiving assistance. You'll have opportunities to connect with employers. You'll have opportunities to practice your interview skills and work on your resume and networking opportunities. But the second piece of that partnership is yourself. You have to be actively engaged in your co-op search as well. Attending the study fairs, reaching out to employers, coming to the co-op and career services department, developing a good relationship with your advisor in that department. It is a collaboration where both sides need to be working together. Really, the purpose of co-op and what I really emphasize students to embrace is, at Lambton College, we want to prepare you for postgraduate success. And for most people, that means finding a job. And co-op is an amazing opportunity for you to practice finding a job before you actually have to graduate and find a job. So go through the process, take it really seriously. And the students that do are in a tremendous position after they graduate, having gone through all of those steps, knowing what it takes, going through interviews and meeting employers and networking and all of these things. customizing your cover letter to make sure that it is going to be screened correctly by the HR department so it gets to the decision makers, all of these things. Amazing opportunity, a great practice before you graduate and start looking for your postgraduate employment opportunity. So yes, you definitely get assistance from Lambton College, but at the same time, you yourself have to be actively engaged in that process as well.
Okay, I haven't got my visa and I'm still waiting for it. I don't know how much time it will take to get it. If I get visa after December 6th, can I still register for the course? Great question. Thank you for that question. So registration does close on December 6th. However, we will be working case by case with individuals with their visa decision. So make sure that you do monitor your personal emails after December 6th. A lot of communication will happen between now and December 6th. So, and we wish you good luck and fingers crossed that you'll get your visa decision, and we'll see you here in January. What are the documents I need to submit on orientation day? There's nothing that you need to submit on orientation day. That's why we're doing the online registration, that we get you all prepared. But you do need to bring your passport and your offer letter to receive if you have any questions related to immigration and getting your social insurance number. But again, all that information will be provided to you closer to the orientation day. So all you need to, when you come, is a nice warm coat and comfy shoes. And we'll be having great activities on January 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Okay, I get the conditional offer. Can I use it in my online registration? So what I would recommend, I don't know what the condition is on your offer, but I would make sure that you clear the condition before you complete the registration process. If you start registration with the conditional offer, it will be flagged by our team, and our team will reach out to you anyway to address whatever the condition was that was preventing us from issuing you a full unconditional offer letter. So what you can do, and I can type the email address here in the chat in just a moment, but reach out to our team, orientation@lambtoncollege.ca, bring to our attention that your offer is conditional, and any documentation that you also need to provide to ensure that that condition is removed, and then you will be able to move forward with the online registration process. And I'll type that email into the chat right now for you.
Thanks, Matt. In the meantime, I'll answer Selena's question. What is a letter of introduction? Again, as I mentioned, this is a letter that IRCC provides you after you have submitted your passport for processing. So you submitted your passport, they put the sticker in your passport, which is called the TRV. Once that is sent back to you, a formal letter called the letter of introduction, it's also known as the port of entry letter, informing the CBSA officer, the border official, that you're here as a student. So you need to print that document and keep it on you. Don't put it in your check bag. Keep it on you. So when you land in Toronto and you go through customs, you take that with your passport and you provide it to the border official. Again, refer to the before you arrive page because it has a listing of all the documentation that you need or you should have when you're entering customs upon arrival.
All right, Ram asks, college provide us any travel card for traveling in Sarnia? So I think you're referring to sort of the public transit or city transit. I answered this question a little bit earlier. What some colleges and universities do is they give every single one of their students a pass to use the public transit, and they just charge everyone for it. So it's in your fees, whether you wanted it or you needed it or didn't need it. It doesn't matter, you're charged for it. That's not our approach at Lambton College. We prefer students be able to make the decision themselves, whether they need it or they don't need it. So if you do, the city transportation pass, as Hannah mentioned earlier, we said it was about $190, you said, Hannah, for the semester. So for a 4-month period, $190, and that would give you unlimited travel on public transit throughout the city. So you can certainly avail that if you need it, or if you find that you live close to everything and you're walking distance and you don't need it, then you can save that expense as well.
Okay, I was asking, if my visa is delayed and I arrive on campus on January 3rd or 4th, Will I have any problems? Thank you. So Evo, yeah, we will, as I said earlier with another question, we will be in constant communication with you through email if you do have a delay in your visa processing. So we will work with you. And so again, remember to make sure that you are searching and checking your personal email for any updates. But we are expected, those who have registered, who do have a visa approval, are expected to be on campus on January 2nd. Conditions of co-op. So good question, Ram. When you get access to My Lambton, you'll be able to go into something called your program map, and it's accessible to all students that are registered and have My Lambton credentials. So when you go into your program map, you would enter your program. So let's say it is occupational health and safety. So you would enter OHSS. It uses the 4 code and then the intake. So 2025W for winter, and then your program map will populate. On your program map, on the right-hand side, it will give you all the details of all the conditions. And one of the conditions is co-op. For co-op, to be eligible for co-op from this cohort is 2.8 GPA. Again, all these details will be provided to you on January 2nd and 3rd at your program orientation. So again, these are great questions to ask of your program coordinator and for the college once you're here.
Bashir asks, when should I apply for my visa and how to get it easily? I would now, I hope that you've been receiving our emails. I know a few months ago and again about 1 month ago, we reached out to students and encouraged them at that time, a few months ago, to already submit their visa application. I would be a little bit worried if you haven't done so, if you didn't follow those recommendations. Visa processing times vary by country, but I would usually advise students to give at least 60 days to complete that process. So what I would recommend, Bashir, is reach out to us at orientation@lambtoncollege.ca and confirm if you indeed haven't applied for your visa yet. And maybe a bit of an explanation of why you haven't, and our team would be happy to look into your case. But I would hope that the overwhelming majority of students for the winter intake, I know many of them already have their visas approved, or at very least have submitted their applications and they are in process. And that has been our recommendation that we've been communicating to applicants for the winter intake for the past several months.
Okay, Shay, when I go on the Lambton login, it is not accepting my student ID number. So it depends on what stage of the onboarding you're at. So best question or best method here would be to email orientation@lambtoncollege.ca, provide screenshots, and then we will be able to address your quick question or your concern here. So please go to orientation@lambtoncollege.ca and your response will be provided within 24 hours.
Right. Does this course, Quality Engineering Management, have demand in Canada and also regarding jobs? That's a great program that you've chosen. I was actually just speaking not too long ago with Joe Clements, who's the coordinator of the Quality Engineering Management program, and we were talking about the opportunities that his students have found. That it's a program that we've offered for, I say, probably five or 6 years, and we've seen tremendous postgraduate outcomes for students in that program. I think a lot of the students gravitate, from what I've seen, a lot of students have sort of mechanical engineering backgrounds. A lot of them gravitate towards manufacturing, for example, which, Southwestern Ontario, here where Lambton College is located, there would be no better place in Canada to pursue opportunities than right here. Very practical program. We have a significant amount of lab time for our students as well. So it's a combination of the management study, but also very practical learning. As we discussed earlier about co-op, Quality Engineering Management has a co-op placement in the 4th term, which provides a really good platform for you to hone your job search skills, network, meet potential employers. So absolutely. We're very proud. I'd answer the same way really to any program that students ask. We take a lot of pride in only offering programs that provide students with skills that are in demand here in Canada. So Quality Engineering Management is no exception.
Same question, Matt.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I answered that one already a little bit. Yes, absolutely. We take our responsibility seriously to work with local employers, understand what they need, incorporate those things into our curriculum, include co-op and applied learning opportunities, research opportunities. Yeah, absolutely. If business management was complementary to your previous experience and background, perhaps your work experience, you should be in a great position to then leverage that through your studies and into your postgraduate employment search.
Okay, Ivo is asking, I've been following the issues with Rainbow Park. My question is Sarnia still a safe place to live in general? Going for walks, walking to church, exercising outdoors, etc. Well, that's a great question. And for those who don't know, Rainbow Park is a park located within Sarnia, and it is in the south end of the community. Unfortunately, as I've always is mentioning, it is an encampment of our homeless population. I would say there's probably between 20 to 25 individuals that are living there. And unfortunately, it's related to addiction and to mental health. And the community, the province, and the federal government is working on this issue, not just at Rainbow Park in Sarnia, but all across Canada, the province of Ontario. But in general, yes, 100%, Sarnia is a safe community to live in. I was born and raised here. I've traveled the world. And yes, you can go for walks, exercise outdoors. It's what we do here in Sarnia. We are on Lake Huron, one of the biggest freshwater lakes in the world. Great place for beaches, for walks, for trails. I think we have kilometers and kilometers worth of trails, biking trails as well. If you're in Sarnia, you are expected to enjoy the outdoors. So yes, absolutely. But again, I also want to give this caveat. Anywhere you travel or anywhere you live in the world, your safety is your responsibility. So again, do you walk at night in your community at 3 o'clock in the morning? Probably not. And you wouldn't do the same thing here. When you're traveling, especially for females, you want to travel with friends, and you always want to let people know where you are, regardless. These are just tips related to traveling and living abroad. So yes, absolutely, Ivo. This is a great community that is a welcoming community, and you will absolutely enjoy the outdoors within this community of Sarnia Lambton.
Will you defer the intake if a visa gets denied? So I hope that you're successful with your visa application. Lambton College consistently over the past 6-7 years has the highest visa success rate of any public college here in Ontario. We take our admissions very seriously. We pre-screen our applicants very carefully. So I think everyone who is waiting for their visa decision should be confident in doing so. In the event of a visa denial, please reach out to our team. You can certainly contact orientation at lambtoncollege.ca, which is in our which we've posted here in the chat. Include your refusal letter. We will want to take a look at that just to see what IRCC flagged. And if you are interested in reapplying either for the same intake or a future intake, those are the discussions that we can have at that time. But yeah, we're always here for our applicants, and we'll come up with whatever solution makes the most sense for yourself. But good luck with your visa. I'm sure you'll be successful.
Good luck. Okay, a lot of people are also worried about the work permit, and the course of quality engineering management is eligible for a work permit if we had applied after November 1st. So that's a really good question. As you know, we've had many changes that have happened in the Canadian landscape with international education. And yes, one of the questions is, what if I applied after November 1st, and what does my program qualify? So we will be providing that information to students on an individual basis. So again, make sure that you are monitoring your personal email, because we will be asking questions such as, when did you apply for your study permit? So Sukuth, please make sure that you are monitoring your personal email.
Yeah, I think it's a really it's a good question, and it's again a situation that we take very seriously. What happened in towards the end of October, when the government of Canada said that if you apply for your study permit after November 1st, your work permit eligibility will depend if your course is aligned with one of the fields of study that the federal government had outlined, and certain institutions took it upon themselves to make their own assessment of which of their programs meet those requirements. And they posted those on their website saying, look at our eligible programs. The problem is, though, schools don't get to make that decision. This is a federal government policy. And when you apply for your post-graduation work permit, it will be the federal government, not Lambton College, not any university. It will be the federal government who makes that decision. And until now, unfortunately, the federal government hasn't officially confirmed yet which programs are matched to those eligible fields of study and which ones are not. So we don't want to provide incorrect information to any of our students. We take this very seriously. And we know that it's important to our students. So if you did apply for your study permit before November 1st, you are grandfathered. It then doesn't matter which program that you chose. You fall under the old rules, which means every program would be eligible as long as you meet all of the other requirements. If you did apply after November 1st, as we learn more information from the federal government, schools are and different institutions are pushing for more information from the federal government. We hope we learn more soon. And of course, we will communicate that to our students as soon as we have accurate data about individual program eligibility. Do persons who do business management, international business qualify for the PGWP? So essentially, Shay, same answer. As well, if you applied for your study permit before November 1st, then the answer is absolutely yes, as long as you meet all the other PGWP requirements, maintain your full-time student status, and so forth. If you applied for your study permit after November 1st, then the answer is, well, we're waiting for the federal government to provide us with a definitive list of which programs are eligible.
Okay, Shay is asking, I also have a 9-year-old child and have a challenge at times. Can you take the child to school with you? Will it pose a problem? Shay, that's a great question. Unfortunately, no, you can't bring your child to the post-secondary institution. It's just not a place for children to be. It's for adults and students that are studying, and obviously we need to be mindful of that structure. You can hire a babysitter. Some of your classes might be online as well, so it depends on what your delivery is for those courses. As a 9-year-old child, your child will be going to school. So we are going to be sending a survey beginning of December asking who requires childminding or schooling. So I would start this process right now. So if you email orientation@lambtoncollege.ca, we can connect you with our YMCA settlement services provider. That would be Regina Crosscarry, and she'll be able to provide you with schools in the vicinity of Lambton College. If you have a place that you're going to be living already, we can let you know which schools your child will be able to go to. We have the public and the Catholic system, so you have a choice of 2 school boards to select from. But I would start this process now, and that's exciting for your child. That's going to be great. They're going to be having brand new friends and a fresh start, and we're looking forward to having you and your child attend Sarnia Lambton. Okay, Cornell is asking, after arriving in Canada, does my health insurance activate, or do I need to go through any steps to activate it? So Cornell, you're going to get an email from us in a couple of weeks outlining the arrival date. So let's say you're arriving before December 2nd, let's say December 1st or the end of November. You do not have any health insurance coverage by GuardMe, our third-party provider. So you can purchase it from the day that you arrive until December 31st through GuardMe or through any provider. However, if you're arriving between, let's say, December 2nd and December 31st, you have 30-day coverage from GuardMe, and you don't have to pay for it, but you do need to register for it. So we will be providing this to you to your personal email on the steps. And again, please join us on November 19th for the GuardMe webinar, where we'll be walking through these steps. If you have any dependents, such as children, like Shay has as a child or a spouse, you are able to activate and add your dependents to your personal health insurance through GuardMe as well, and you will get access to your health access card. Just a reminder, how does GuardMe work? You are covered from January 1st, 2025 till December 31st, 2025, and that health access card will be sent to you directly by GuardMe to your My Lambton email. expect to receive your health access card by GuardMe by the end of January. But for those arriving before that, you are covered. You just need to enroll yourself for the early arrival. Again, all that information is going to be sent to you in an email.
As we make our way, I believe that is the end of our questions. So I'll just highlight before we go, you've probably seen throughout this presentation, we've talked about how much important information we've already sent you and how much important information we will continue to send you over the coming weeks leading up to your arrival here in Canada. If you have not been receiving emails from us, that means we don't have your correct contact information on file. Now, there's an easy way to know what email address we have on file for you. If you look at your acceptance letter on page 1 in the top right-hand corner with your name, your address, your email address will be right there as well. Whatever email address is in that box, that's the email address that we have on file for you. So if that is not correct, and you want to change it, you want to update it, again, contact orientation@lambtoncollege.ca, and we'll be able to update our records accordingly to ensure that you are receiving those important updates, for example, health insurance, and the processes in place there according to your arrival date. So I think we'll wrap things up there. I want to thank you, Hannah, for joining us today and all of the very useful information. I want to thank everybody for attending as well. Lots of great questions. We really appreciate it. And even though this session is ending, we're always here to help. Send us an email. Our team is ready, orientation@lambtoncollege.ca, or stay engaged on the WhatsApp chat groups. And we really look forward to seeing you again, meeting you in person very soon. Bring a warm jacket. Winter start date is always fun. So safe travels, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.
Safe travels. Bye-bye.